Today we're going to quickly go over the process of installing this TRD air intake system in my third GEN Tacoma. Step 1, use a 10mm to remove your negative battery terminal. Step 2 is removing the factory components, starting with the engine cover. Now use a 10mm to loosen the inlet hose clamp, and then use a pair of pliers to remove the PCV hose clamp. Now squeeze and remove the PCV hose. Now unplug the airflow sensor and release the wiring harness from the top of the lid. Now use some needle nose to unclip the wiring harness. Next, open up the factory air box and remove the air filter. Now the entire assembly can be removed. Now we're going to use a 12mm to remove these 3 bolts and take the lower air box out. With these 3 bolts removed, the lower air box just lifts out of place. Now we need to remove the air inlet from the lower air box, just like that. Next, we need to remove the clip for the airflow sensor with needle nose pliers. Then we need to remove the clips for the lid. Then with the Phillips head, we need to remove the sensor. Like so. Now we're going to reinstall the sensor into the TRD airbox. The harness clip is going to go on the outside, like so. And the lid clips are going to go back where we took them off with the other one. Next step is to assemble the TRD intake as shown. There's a little notch here that this lines up with. You're going to want to use an 8mm socket wrench to get all the hose clamps tight. Here's a close-up of the assembly. Make sure you leave this one loose for inserting it onto the engine. Okay, now you want to install this air horn. This actually goes into the fender, and you want the notch to be facing up. So you have to kind of squeeze it in there. And like so. Now we need to reinstall the lower air box without that piece on it. It just slides into the piece, the air horn, and we'll use the 3 bolts to hold it back in place. Next step is installing the TRD air filter. It just sits right in place. Now we'll slide in the upper air box, attach it to the throttle body. Make sure the tabs on the bottom of the airbox go in, so everything seats. And engage these front clips to hold it all together. Now we're going to tighten up these hose clamps. Looks like I need to adjust this a little bit, so we'll loosen this one first. Spin it. There we go. tighten everything down. Now we'll slide the PCV valve back over the nipple. Put the clamp on. Then we'll run the mass airflow harness back up. Hook it up here. Hook it through here. And plug it in. Make sure this is sitting back where it was, like so. Last couple steps, we'll put the engine cover back on. And reconnect the battery. And just like that, the TRD intake is installed. Here are the leftover parts. It's just the upper air box and the little snorkel intake thing. And these are all the tools that were used. Pretty basic, a couple pairs of pliers, 10mm wrench I used for the negative battery terminal, 10mm, 12mm, and 8mm sockets, flat, and Phillips head screwdriver.